Hey, I'm Paul Sharp, and this is my YouTube channel, Paul Sharp Coaching. It's a little bit of a change from what I've done before, but I feel like it more closely reflects what I've always done and where I'm heading in the future and how I want to serve my people. Why YouTube, right? Why YouTube now? If you've been around for any of the time, or you follow me, or you've been my friend in other social medias, then I'm pretty active on Instagram, YouTube, sometimes TikTok, LinkedIn, and that's about it. I think that's everything. Threads and of course X, right? And what's happened over the last year, particularly the last 4 months, is that I am, and others, are continuously being censored by Instagram, Meta, whatever you want to call it. I made a post the other day that was, I don't want to say the final straw because that's just being a drama queen, but I made a post the other day on somebody's thread. I made a comment rather on somebody's post, and all I said was, and it was about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, I think is who he's going up against. And I said, the real winners here, it was a question of who's going to win, one of those questions, right? And I said, what I think the real winners here are going to be any fighters, new fighters, young fighters, that are paying attention to how Jake Paul has managed to market himself and get in front of people and get people to want to spend a lot of money to see him fight. And they take note and they figure out how to do that in this day and age. That's how you get those big purse fights. It's not like the old days where luck of the draw or good manager, good promoter, that kind of thing. Nowadays, it's in your own hands, literally, like it's in your phone. You can manage and market yourself in such a way that you will make people want to see you fight. And so that's what I posted. And it was immediately taken down, and it was deemed that I was spamming and looking for likes and comments. And I thought that's the whole point of social media, was to have comments, to have commentary back and forth and discussion and to be social. Wow. I thought that was weird, and I thought, oh, whatever. Made another post on another friend's post, a comment on another friend's post, and they were talking about obesity being the probably major pandemic, if you want to call it that, in first world countries. Because first world countries, we're killing ourselves with how we eat and our sedentary lifestyle and all that stuff. And I made a comment, and I just said, hey man, I agree with what you're saying here, and I really wish we could just have a open, judgment-free conversation about this issue where we could just say, look, I'm not calling you names, I'm not nothing. Like, you do you, but let's talk about the health ramifications of being overweight, being obese, and what exactly is obesity, because that goal gets moved, that goalpost gets moved frequently by whomever is discussing it. And then we just decide, clearly define what is obesity, and then let's talk about the health related issues associated with that. We don't need to talk about anything else. I'm not going to shame people. I don't want to hear about genetics and all that. None of that. Let's talk about real solutions to a real problem. And I literally clicked out of there and was scrolling through my feed when I got a notification that my comment had been removed because it violated community standards, and basically I was shaming people. And I thought, you know what? I can't post anything about guns. I can't post anything about knives. I can't post almost anything about self-defense or self-defense related material without something weird being attached to it. I can't talk about COVID long haul issues that I've had to experience, that I've gone through, without some weird fact checking thing. And the funny part is they're fact checking my experience, my truth. I post about what's happened to me and what I've gone through, and even the medications that I've taken to help me recover, medications from a doctor. I didn't go out in the street and just procure this stuff. And it gets this weird fact checking thing, and then it gets like people tell me, hey, I can't see your posts. That led me to look at YouTube again. And I thought, where I've never had an issue? YouTube. I've been able to post videos of me shooting, of classes that I'm teaching, of people shooting, of people defending themselves against a knife, of me teaching and coaching knife defense classes where I don't really coach the offensive use of the knife, so I could see if they had an issue there. I'm not coaching people how to murder someone or attempt murder somebody, but I am coaching how to defend yourself if you had to deal with somebody with a knife. I've never had those videos taken down on YouTube. They've been taken down on Facebook. They've been taken down on Instagram. I've never had issues discussing fitness and how I track my calories and my macros and all those things. None of those things have ever been an issue on YouTube, but they have been on the metaverse. And so while I'm not going to stop posting there, I am going to put a lot of effort here. And so while this first video is a little rough and a little raw, but it's also genuine. It's the real deal. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I am here because it is difficult to talk about, or impossible to talk about, difficult subjects in Meta. It is near impossible to have a difficult conversation on Instagram or Facebook because somebody might possibly get butt hurt. And the best part is when I ask people, hey, was something in here offensive? I ask them my story. Nobody ever says I was offended. Either there's a bunch of cowards out there who are reporting stuff, but afraid to have a difficult conversation with me where they say it was offensive to me and here's why. Or it's just some sort of artificial intelligence, some bots, which is what I've been told, that are searching for words, phrases, whatever, that goes against what they perceive to be community standards or what they say are community standards, but really aren't offending anybody. And they're just randomly eliminating stuff, not just from me, but from a lot of people. And a lot of different subjects too, not just weapons and things like that. But it's pretty interesting. It's pretty wild, actually. I have a friend that's a nurse that makes a lot of posts about health and vaccines and all the things that we put in our body, and not even an anti or for or any stance, really. Her posts are just, look, these are the risks that might not have been discussed with you if you got your vaccine, say, at a pharmacy, where the pharmacist, I got a bunch of stuff to do, and now I got to come over here and jab you real quick with the flu vaccine or whatever. It's good information, but for some reason, who knows why, it gets taken down all the time. That's the kind of stuff that's motivating me to come here. I want to be where I can just be me, man. I can talk about guns, I can talk about gear, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about guns, we're going to talk about gear, we're going to talk about training, we're going to talk about knives, we're going to talk about fitness, being more capable citizens, being more of an asset, not a liability. How do we become the adept where we are a whole person, as developed as possible, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? I want to talk about all those things and not have to worry about, after I put effort into it, to try to serve people and share my thoughts with folks, and then I come back later and it's gone. And that's extremely frustrating. You'll see more of me here, and I'm stoked to be here. Let's get this going.